Hello, everybody. Yes, I know, doing yet another Led Zeppelin video, but I was thinking about this a lot, and always thought, well, I've really been getting into this album, and well, I've never been a big Exile on Main Street fan, so I've never really thought of putting it against this album, mostly because of it. So I just haven't been doing it, and well, and to be honest, when if I did the Who against the Beatles, the Who would beat them like really bad. So I thought this album would be the fairest. Uh, this will not be a track versus track video. Via being the reason why it's not included in the title, mostly because this album has 30 songs. This album has 15 songs. Well, I could well sometime I will pick the 15 best tracks on this album. Well, keep the 15 tracks on this one, but pick the 15 best tracks on this album and kind of do a track versus track on there. But as of right now, my plan was to just do a side versus side thing, like side one, side two versus side two, side three versus side three, and side four side versus side four, and then just pick a definitive winner. Just overall, really. Okay, well, if you're not a music guy and you want to know what songs are on these, I'm gonna go by what the Beatle ones are. Back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, Glass Onion, Obladi Oblada, Wild Honey Pie, Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and then side one ends off on Happiness is a Warm Gun. 8 songs on one side. I mean, well, kind of 7 tracks, I'd say, but still, that's quite a bit of. Still, it's still kind of it's still 8 tracks, but still, like the amount of songs that they managed to fit onto one side is incredible. Whilst Physical Graffiti's first side uh, doesn't have a track. Well, that actually does have a track listing. I lied. Um, Side one is Custard Pie, The Rover, and then In My Time of Dying. Those are the only 3 songs on side one. You got 3 songs as opposed to the Beatles' 8 songs. Well, people might be like, "Whoa, more songs is better," you know? Yeah, that's good and all, but let's look at each. Let's see 8 of these songs though. Well, back in the USSR, great opener with Dear Prudence right after it, like a great 1-2 punch. Glass Onion is great as well, pretty good with the references in each of the songs. Lady Madonna, Walrus, Fool in the Hill, I like it. Obladi Oblada, um, yeah, great song, but kind of a, I wouldn't say throwaway, but hasn't aged all that well. Still good though. Wild Honey Pie, not even a track. To me, it's like an interlude from Obladi Oblada to the continuing story of Buggle Bill. And even that song, the one after Wild Honey Pie, is a little bit of a goofy song. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, though, never been the biggest fan of that song either. Then there's Happiness is a Warm Gun, which to me is the strongest song on the side. I already know I went through the tracks, but say out of the 8 songs, the the songs that really stand out to me though would be, like I said, Back in the USSR and Dear Prudence, and Happiness is a Warm Gun is I I've always loved that track. It was always a track that always stood out to me, and I always liked that track. And even though I'm not as crazy as Obladi Oblada as like it used to, but it's still a childhood favorite. Now, now that we reached to now that we I've discussed the White Album, discuss side one of Physical Graffiti, Custard Pie. Um, really great opener. Probably not, probably not the strongest opening to a Led Zeppelin album, but still great. It's not as good as the 1-2 punch with the Back in the USSR and Dear Prudence, but it's still really strong. The Rover, I like it, pretty fun, and I think it's a decent track. I like it a lot. Then there's In My Time of Dying, which I think it's strong, good stuff. Goes on for a little too long, but still good track. But if I had to pick what I like better, side one or side one Physical Graffiti or side one the White Album, to me, the undisputed the White Album has a way better side one because you get more tracks and none of the tracks go on for too long. So White Album. Side two uh, of the White Album. I'm gonna go first with the White Album again, but side two. I mean, of the White Album. Martha, My Dear, I'm So Tired, Blackbird, Piggies, Rocky Raccoon, Don't Pass Me By, Why Don't We Do It in the Road, I Will, and Julia. Um, wow. So you get 8 songs on one side, and then you get 7. I think you get 7 on one. Like didn't count. I think you get 7 on the next. No, 9 actually. You get 9 on the second side. Yeah, you get 9 songs on the second side, which to me is crazy. They get 2 sides. They first say you get 8 tracks and then 9 songs on the second. And I'm gonna be honest, there's not a single bad song on side two. All these songs are really good. I might say the weakest track on side two would be Why Don't We Do It in the Road? Like, that's probably like the weakest track on the side, but even then, very fun track about monkeys doing it in the road, and Paul McCartney was like, "Why don't we do it in the road?" Kind of ridiculous, but I mean, it was the '60s, you know. Don't really know what to expect. But yeah, I enjoy side two of the White Album. Probably my second or absolute favorite from the White Album. Now going into Led Zeppelin's side two, Houses of the Holy. What a great way to start off side two. And then you get Trampled Underfoot, which that's also great. And you get Cashmere, which even though I ranked it really low on my ranking video, it's still a very epic song. So wow. Still 3 songs though, but take these 3 epic songs, paired against these 9 songs. Well, yeah, the White Album easily winning side two over the first disc the White Album owns. Okay, take the disc out. Then he gets us disc 3, which Beatles open up with the Birthday. Great opener. Very back in the USR back in the USSR feel though, but still good. Your Blues, good. Mother's Little Helper, great. Everybody got something high except for Me, My Monkey. Kind of a throwaway song, but still fun. Sexy Sadie, great. Helter Skelter, one of their best tracks. One of my favorite McCartney tracks. Then Long, 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 which very boring, but still decent. Pair that against not as much songs on side three as there is on side two and one, but still a decent amount of tracks for one side. Which 7 songs is still great. That was like the normal amount of songs that they were doing on records. The Beatles. Now, no longer 3 tracks. We're going to 4 tracks now. In the Light, which is now currently in my top 3 favorite Zeppelin songs. So that's gonna be really hard to beat. Braun YRR, really great instrumental. Down by the Seaside, love it. 10 Years Gone, man, not a single weak track on this one. It's each song on side 3 is really strong, Doug. I will say, side 3 on the White Album isn't nearly as strong as the first side as the first 2 sides. I mean, Birthday's good, but not strong. Your Blues is good, but not strong. Mother Nature's Son is great. That's one amazing track. Everybody's got something high except for Me, Monkey is just good. Sexy Sadie 2, Helter Skelter 3. It's like you have like 3 epic tracks against 4 epic tracks. So I'm gonna give it to Physical Graffiti on that one. Side 4 on the White Album. So reaching the end. Revolution 1, which I used to think the first hardcore Revolution, the B-side of Hey Jude, was better, but I'm starting to think the softer one's better. Honey Pie, kind of a cruddy song if you ask me. Kind of a very one of their throwaway White Album songs. Savoy Truffle, to me the best. Well, me and Garrett told me this, but I agree with them. Best track on side 4. Cry Baby Cry, Revolution 9. Do I even have to say anything? And Good Night ends off the album really like sweet, but still not the best. This is like easily the weakest track, weakest side on the White Album. Whereas Physical Graffiti gets better. Well, I think side 4 is just. I think side 4, yeah. Well, Physical Graffiti gets stronger by each side. I think the White Album gets. Well, side 2 is great, but I think it gets a little weaker towards the end. This album gets stronger towards the end. Well, speaking of Led Zeppelin, Night Flight, amazing outtake song from Zeppelin 4. Wonton Song, really epic. Boogie with Stu, I've always loved that track. Black Country Woman, a little bit weird on the lyrics, but I really enjoy it too. Sick Again. I mean, every track on side 4 is amazing. This whole album is just amazing front to back. So, but yeah. If you ask me though, Led Zeppelin easily wins side 4 on Physical Graffiti. No questions asked. But if you ask me what I think is the best album out of the 2, I can't tell you. I really can't. Because there's like over 15 amazing tracks on this album. That's like clutter with filler, but still over 15 amazing tracks on this album. Physical Graffiti has 15 amazing tracks front to back, but some tracks are better than others. But the Beatles, though, there are a lot of Beatle tracks that I prefer over a lot of tracks on Physical Graffiti, but there's a lot of but there's a lot of filler on the White Album, so it it's hard to say though. But this is one, you know what? Normally, I like to come up with a definitive answer, but the best Led Zeppelin, I mean, the best out of these two, I'm going to post this in my community poll on YouTube. I'm going to ask, what do you prefer better, White Album or Physical Graffiti? Heck, I'll even add in Quadrophenia and Exile on Main Street as a choice, just for the heck of it. But mostly the Beatles against the Led Zeppelin. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I see that I have 2 viewers on the video, which always is a bonus. And nice. And whatever, of course, anyone who's gonna eventually join my channel and see the replay, great. And tell me in that poll, or heck, in the comment section, what album you prefer. And see you guys next time. So long.